We are living in a computer-programmed reality, and the only clue we have to it is when some variable is changed and some alteration in our reality occurs. We would have the overwhelming impression that we were reliving the present, déjà vu, perhaps in precisely the same way, hearing the same words, saying the same words. I submit that these impressions are valid and significant, and I will even say this: such an impression is a clue that at some past time point, a variable was changed, reprogrammed as it were, and that because of this, an alternative world branched off.
Good morning and welcome to the Friday edition of Free Association Radio. My name is Robert Phoenix and you are dialed into the Friday Forecast, and I am endeavoring to get my guest on the show today, Ellis C. Taylor. We're having a bit of a snafu, it seems, getting him on in terms of the show page. There he is. God bless him. He's just entered into the queue, and I'm sure you can hear my dulcet tones as it is. How is everybody today? Is everyone feeling mighty and divine after last night's Democratic National Convention? Or did they pull out all the stops last night, huh? From Barack Obama to Gabby Giffords. If you were not feeling it after the end of that convention, I'm not sure if you have a pulse. I mean, even people that are cynical about the experience were like catching the buzz, a big buzz, a mega buzz. Why? Why was that? Was it because of the grand oratory skills of Mr. Barack Obama? Or perhaps was there something more? Perhaps it might have been astrological, or perhaps it might have been something technological. And the reason I broach this is because when I was back in the 90s, I'm going to bring Ellis on in about 5 minutes. Or maybe even less than that, 2 or 3 minutes. I just need to get this out into the air. Back in the 90s, the mid-90s when back in the mid-2000s when Bush was president. By the way, Bush made so many more appearances than Obama ever made. When I say appearances, I'm talking Rose Garden stuff. He had so many Rose Garden press conferences and Q&As. And of course, you'd always see Helen Thomas in the front row asking the first question. He had these town halls. He had these press conferences. You name it. Bush might have been the most accessible president we've ever seen. Obama is not like that. Obama is much more controlled and much more managed than Bush ever was. Bush was managed, but in a different kind of way. And I remember seeing the Bush speeches during that time, and I had a high degree of contempt for the man. I mean, look, I'm sure I could get into my compassion space and all that stuff, and understand that he went through a very hard upbringing, all that ritual abuse and all that. I get it. I totally get it. But I still could not, at times, mask my contempt for what was taking place, even though he was occupying high puppet status. But I'd watch these speeches, and I would feel happy watching these speeches. It was one of the most bizarre disconnects I'd ever experienced. It was pure cognitive dissonance. And it was a trip. It was a total trip. Then I realized that something was going on underneath the broadcasts themselves, that there was some sort of carrier wave or carrier frequency that was being transmitted so that I would feel good while I was watching Bush. Now, fast forward to last night, and things have changed quite a bit. When Bush was alive, people had analog TVs, meaning that you could, put your antenna up on the roof of your house and you could receive a signal. You can still get that to a certain extent. They haven't fully taken that away. It's a digital antenna. So what you're doing is you're getting basically a digital signal transmitted into a digital antenna. They need this for people that don't have cable TV. And there are people that don't have it. But what they did is they took away the analog channel, all the analog bandwidth. And what are they doing with that analog bandwidth now? All that space that they use to transmit an analog frequency, that's vacant. So here's my take on what happened last night. My take, and even for the Republican convention as well, my take is that they use triggered words, and there's a huge treatise on Obama and the use of NLP during his run up to the presidency in 2008, and I believe that NLP does play a role. If you don't know what NLP is, it's called neuro-linguistic programming, and it's about auto-suggestion and using prompts, using words, also using patterns of speech to entrain people. And there are basic and there are very advanced techniques. And my feeling is that Barack Obama is a very sophisticated practitioner of neuro-linguistic programming, part of the training. And underneath all of that was probably a transmission through the analog bandwidth. And again, analog, you have to understand, analog is a magnetic resonating field. We are analog beings. And so when something is sent out via the analog carrier frequency, then people are going to feel it throughout their entire bodies, not just as a concept, which is what a digital transmission is. So what is the solfeggio tone for miracles? I think it's 56 hertz or 526 hertz, something like that. So all you have to do is pump that inaudibly underneath anything, and all of a sudden now people are having a very different kind of response to the material. Maybe it's similar to what they would have had if they didn't have that frequency being transmitted. And perhaps it's just a lot more augmented as a result. And it can work the other way too. There can be feelings of discord and chaos and anxiety. They can all be pumped through the ethers as well. So that's my take as to what happened, because I got to tell you, I was on Facebook last night, and there were people that would just run through walls after that convention last night. It was wild, absolutely wild. And it's really not necessarily a nomination, it's a coronation now, isn't it? They've both been coronated candidates. And we're off and running. We've got some very interesting dates coming up. We've got 9/9. That's in 2 days. And we have 9/11. 9/11 is a fascinating day, obviously, for a number of reasons. I just ran across some information that the late researcher Rick Clay uncovered, and it was about Jesus being born on 9/11, that's his birthday, and that's why this date is so important. I just stumbled across it. I haven't looked at it. Maybe Ellis knows a little bit something about that. All right, so let me set the stage for our guest today. His name is Ellis C. Taylor, and I'm not even sure. I think here's what happened. I think Ellis was linking to the stuff on my site, and I was reading my stats one day, and I saw people coming from this website, and I went to the website, and it's like, wow, this guy is really interesting. I mean, really interesting. And then I got into his Megaspell theory, which has everything to do with what's just taking place with the Olympics leading all the way up to 12/21/12. And I wanted to have Ellis on my show to explain this theory, which is absolutely fascinating. And then I did. I had him on my show. I think it might have been my second or third show. He was a very early guest. And we had a lot of difficulties with that show on a number of levels. I was just learning how to use the blog talk. technology, and Ellis didn't know me at all, and Ellis was not doing a lot of radio at that time. And since then, we've forged a bond and crafted a relationship halfway across the world. Never met each other, but I feel like he's a brother, brother in arms, brother in spirits, and I'd like to introduce him right here, right now, and bring him right on the air. Here he is, Mr. Ellis C. Taylor. Hello, Ellis.
Hi, Robert. How are you?
I'm great. Now that you're in here and you're all tidy and tucked away, and we got you. We're ready to roll. Feel good about that.
Yeah, skin of the teeth job though, because my computer crashed yesterday morning, and I've been battling with another one, trying to fix that one as well since then. But anyway, I'm here and looking forward to it.
Well, good. Let's say just a quick little prayer here for the virtual sprites to buttress your efforts and keep the interference at bay for the next I don't know, 110 minutes or so. So let's get into it. So we just had the Olympics with the massive ritual there at the end. It was almost overwhelming. As Devlin, who is the choreographer and stage director, creative director for people like Jay-Z and Muse and Gaga and Miley Cyrus and all these major artists right now who are all pretty much broadcasting the same thing symbolically and even musically. She put on quite a show there at the end, didn't she?
Yeah, it was remarkable. It was the only ceremony that I've actually watched, to be honest, in the Olympics. But even his name, Devlin, says quite a lot, doesn't it?
I know. Yeah, absolutely. And what was really interesting is that she was also she staged a performance of Batman. It was a play in London. It was like, I don't know who actually wrote the play, but she was the creative director for Batman. And then who shows up at the Olympics in the closing ceremonies is Batman. I mean, what's that all about? I mean, I understand that it was part of her production, but here we just had this incident in Aurora, Colorado, which is fairly dubious, and all related to the Batman meme and the Batman inception. And there's Batman and Robin at the Olympics.
It's all ingredients, mate. All ingredients in a spell. As you know, a spell is really just a formula or a recipe or whatever you want to call it, with an intended result. And over the millennia, they've learned what to put together to actually achieve what they intend. And part of that is using the right people, using the right circumstances, the right timing, and hopefully, as far as they're concerned, they'll achieve the right result, and they've had a lot of practice at it. And as far as I'm concerned, I think they lifted the banner at the end of that. They lifted up the Saurian symbol of the Phoenix at the top there. I know it's your name, mate. I'm not saying you're a Saurus, but it's definitely, as far as I'm concerned, watching this stuff, lifting the banner. I think they achieved what they intended to achieve.
So let's get into this whole concept of a planetary spell.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you unearthed the patterns that have been leading up to not just the Olympics and the Paralympics, but also 12-21-12. And this is the most current iteration of this. I mean, my sense is that this spell has been going on for hundreds of thousands of years. And I'm wondering if you could talk to that for just a moment.
It's certainly been going on for a very, very long time. My feeling is, well, it's more than a feeling, but I'll use that word, is that there were a multitude of strands, all converging on 2112, or 1221 as you say there. And their game was to bring all of these strands together then into a web, and to actually bring that even further, what should we say, focus it even further, to bring all of these lines together, all these timelines together, to actually meet at that date. And you can see just by the Roman calendar that they've actually aimed the calendar at that date. Just look at the astrological phenomena that's going on at that time. To have all of those numbers, 2 and 1, just 2 and 1 in that date, to come together at 11:11, by the way, GMT, because they obviously constructed the time frame as well.
Mm-hmm.
And 11:11, you join those together, that's 2-2, and you got the ones as well, so it's 1 and 2. We get 1, which is the male, but it's the male that isn't inspired, to put it politely, and the 2, which is actually a lot of people look at it as being female, and I used to look at it as being female, but the more I've looked at it, is actually what it is the integrated human, mind, body, and anyway, that's on the human level. But when you look at the 2 together, they actually make 3, which is the child. So that's the result of, if you want to call it, cosmic intercourse, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the result, which is the magical 3, obviously. So it's not just been the Mayan calendar, it's been the Roman Church, and there's been all sorts of things found in Egypt and a lot of ancient cultures as well that actually do support this 2112 thing, and it's only in recent times that excuse me, public science has come out and let the ordinary Yarnistry know it is going on up in the stars, and the influences that the stars do have upon us. They tried to ridicule it for a long time, and but used it always themselves.
Right. Yeah.
And it's why astrology does work. What goes on in the heavens affects us here. It's macrocosm, microcosm stuff, and it may be subtle, but our minds operate in subtle realms, and what we perceive actually manifests in some way. So astrology is a very accurate science, and I'll just add here that you've done a reading for me, and I think you're brilliant at what you do, and I'd encourage anybody to have a reading from you. And just sidetrack a little bit, numerology really reads your programming. Your programming once the spirit is born, then shall we say, it's under the auspices of what rules this world. And I'm a great supporter of the Cathar belief in that the demiurge actually rules this world. It controls everything in it. And the alphabet and the numeric system, the symbols of the alphabet and numeric symbols, the symbols of the numbers, are all contrivances of this demiurge, or darkness as I call it. And so therefore numerology reads your programming, whereas astrology has the ability to read the essence of you, the being before it is brought into being. Where I do suspect that it could be stronger in my way of thinking, is that the time of conception to me is probably going to be a bit more accurate as regards the spiritual being, which is the essence of all of us.
Right.
But having said that, I still think that astrology has the capability of reading the essence of us better than any other science. And I call them sciences in the true sense of the word.
Yes.
It's a journey of discovery, science. It's not a conclusion. Yeah. So where were we? Sorry.
Well, it's interesting because Ptolemy, who's widely considered the father of Western astrology, he cast charts based on the moment of conception. For him, that's where it was at. So to your point, you're all over. Hey, Ellis, can you turn your volume down just a tad?
Sure.
Because I'm hearing a bit of feedback. Or you have your headphones on?
I can't put a headphone in this laptop I'm using.
If you could just turn your volume down just a beat, because I'm hearing myself. Yeah.
Okay, I'll see if I can find it.
It'd be easy for me to train of thought.
Is that any better?
Let me see. Yeah, it is better. Thank you.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, much. So one of the things that I was playing with and is going to be on my newsletter by the end of the day is when Obama, when he accepted the nomination 2 nights ago. Last night he had the speech, and 2 nights ago he accepted the nomination. At that time, the ascendant was Gemini. And Jupiter and Gemini was the ascendant, Vesta was on the ascendant, Ceres was...
I'm sorry, Robert, you're breaking up really badly at the moment.
Yeah.
Is it the same your end, or...?
No, I'm just hearing my echo, that's all.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So when Obama accepted the nomination, Gemini was on the ascendant of the chart.
Okay.
And this whole concept of Gemini is, I think, very fascinating because it gets back to this notion of 1 and 2, but they're capped, right? There's top, bottom, there's the base, and then there's the head of the 1 and the 2. And I'm wondering if you could speak to that, because when we go into 12, which is all based on 1s and 2s, right? I mean, what that's all about. Theoretically, on the ecliptic, the sun will be in between Earth and the galactic center, which means that the most dominant part of the galaxy will be Gemini on the back end of it. So I'm just wondering if you can talk a little bit about this whole notion of Gemini. 1 is the 2, 1, but not 1. For me, I think it's a big piece of the alchemical mystery.
Well, I'm really sorry, mate. You're breaking up really badly, and I can't catch everything you're saying.
Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you do this? Why don't you log out and then come back into the show and try another connection? Okay.
Okay then. Yep, we'll do.
Okay, good. Let's do that. All right. So we're going to have Ellis call back in because it was a bumpy connection. It doesn't surprise me because last time we did this, it was a bit challenging to get through, and we're going to give it another go here. But what I was referring to is that when Obama received the nomination 2 nights ago, Gemini was on the ascendant, Jupiter was right on the ascendant, and the asteroids Vesta and Ceres, both in Gemini, were also very close to the ascendant. And if you've been following my blog and my newsletter, I've been writing quite a bit about Gemini, Jupiter and Gemini, and I think it's a very big piece of this mystery and the occult import of where this is all going on 12/21/12. So it was really fascinating. And here's the kicker: Vesta, the asteroid, she is sort of she is the leader of the Vestal Virgins. And the Vestal Virgins, by the way, they were all daughters of the elite. They were all daughters of the politically elite, which is interesting. And there is a satellite which left Vesta almost to the minute. It was very close. Left Vesta when, right around the same time, Barack Obama accepted the nomination. And what's the name of that satellite? The satellite's name is Dawn. So it's breaking dawn right at that moment of time. It's a fascinating coincidence here. Let's try to bring Ellis back on and see what's going on. Okay, can you hear me, Ellis?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Is that better?
Yes, it is actually much better.
Oh, great. So
listening to what you said, Dawn, of course, is Aurora.
Right.
And you're talking about Vesta. No, Vesta is a match.
Yes.
Yeah?
The eternal flame, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you can look at the other meaning of match as well, which is, two pairs matching.
Right.
Just thought I'd add that. Sorry, carry on.
No, that's okay. No, and it's also fascinating too because Obama seems to have an amazing capacity to sway women. And, right then at that time, Ceres, who is the keeper of the hearth, was conjunct Vesta, who is the keeper of the flame, the eternal flame. And they were both conjunct Jupiter at that time, right on the ascendant. So if there was, a magical invocation to be able to sway women or to be able to, entrain women to be, more engaged to vote, get out, make people vote, there couldn't have been a better alignment for that.
Okay. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So my original question before we started to break up a little bit was this whole notion of Gemini, and the 2 is the 1, and the symbol of Gemini. And I just wonder if you had any insight into that.
Do you know what, mate? I think I have written on this twins theme like this, but I can't bring it to mind exactly what that I was writing about that. No, mate, I'm sorry. If it comes to me, I'll say something later, but if you want to get on with something
Sure.
else.
Absolutely. So one of the other things that you do is you in addition to the pattern work that you do, you're also deeply engaged in moving between worlds. And you wrote Dogged Days, which is your account of some of those experiences and strange phenomena. And I know it's kind of a hard subject for you to articulate at times, but let's see if we can kind of wrap our heads around that a little bit. And one of the things that we had talked about prior to you coming on the show was these other worlds and what they might mean for us as an alternative medium to deal with the kind of the onslaught of the Megaspell or the demiurge of time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of drift into these worlds involuntarily then. I've never really kind of... Well, I definitely haven't taken any drugs to do it, that's for sure. The only definite kind of process that I have used before is meditation. But I don't always have to do that. I've been a daydreamer all my life, and that's usually when I'll drift off. But my feeling is, is what I'm told, is that we as human beings in this time, in this world, etc., is that we're not. This isn't the only us. If you understand what I'm trying to say.
Sure.
There's several of us, even though we're one. We have different parts of us that exist in different times, exist in different places, even though it can all be one, because essentially we're just actors in the dream of God. And nerve endings to that as well, you could say. We experience things and God learns. That's my take on it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, before he created anything else other than himself, or I say he, but I mean he, she. It must have been pretty boring because nothing would have gone off.
Right.
So he set about this dream and dreamed us and lots of other things, and to make it more interesting, all sorts of realms and things as well, which we exist in and act in, and therefore, what the darkness does here is not necessarily doing anywhere else. But this is more like a, what should we say? It is an experiential environment, and a unique one. And when we move on from here, we go to another one, and we can do that even though we're incarnated here, which, you know, these journeys and all the rest of it. We're just experiences other parts of our purpose and meaning, and so therefore when I see all this going on here, I do feel that we are here to become better than what the status quo is. Then I think we're here to rise above the negativity, the cruelty, the disdain, and all of this sort of stuff. I think we really are. We are gods, but we're gods in as much as we're part of God. We're part of His dream. You know, we do a job, and we're just here to watch the X Factor or Coronation Street or 10 football matches or, you know, whatever. I mean, they're things that we can partake in, but they're not the be all and end all of life, which the vast majority of human beings tend to kind of believe, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
So when I do journey, I suppose it's a bit like stopping off at a filling station in some respects, because you go there and you recharge your batteries, and you learn appropriate roads to take. You learn something about what you couldn't see from being down here. It's almost like a bird's eye view of what's going on around.
Mm-hmm.
And you start to understand more of, you know, how this world works. And if you can see how this world works, and you can see the patterns and the engagements and the rest of it that's going on, I think that you have a responsibility to report that, and that's what I do.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. When you experience these other worlds and these other states, does it reaffirm your faith in being here?
I think sometimes I wonder what I'm doing here. I do feel as if I'm kind of shouting in the wind.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I do sort of think, oh, you know, I've just had enough. I can't stand anymore. I'm wasting. But then, you know, I look around at the beauty of like newborn babies and newborn animals and nature, and it's such an incredible environment. and I feel fortunate to actually be here and experience it, despite all the darkness and the machinations of those that follow it and believe in the crap they're fed, and I think, well, you know, it's worth saving. It really is, and so I keep going.
Yeah, well, I think that I don't quite fully understand why some people have the capacity to do that and others don't, with the exception of maybe a vow that's taken before an individual comes into this lifetime. But it seems to be that there are really two camps of people on the planet, and there's this one that wants to forward the potential of a very different reality in the midst of a nightmare, and then there's another group that is not necessarily as invested in that. And if they are invested in something else, it's almost like a mirror of that, their own sort of version of it, but with kind of a different slant or different foundation. I'll give you an example. As you were talking earlier, you were saying that, well, we are gods and yet we are a part of God, and I would agree with that. And if you were to distill, say, the Freemasonic or the Luciferic definition of human, I think they would come very close to that as well. But there seems to be a distinct difference, or maybe not even a very subtle difference, between that kind of realization that I am God and perhaps what you're talking about, which feels to me a little more reverential and a little more humble. What's your take on that?
Firstly, Robert, it's breaking up again, unfortunately, but I think I caught what you said.
Okay.
At the basis of it all, through all this learning and experimentation with what I learn, the crux of how people behave in this world, and it sounds ridiculous, but I can assure you it's not, because what I've been doing for this long, I've learnt this from what I've been doing, and that is that our mode of communication, i.e. the alphabet, actually does control the way that we behave and control the environment that we live in. And while we use the symbols that have been foisted upon us and the communication means the alphabet, we are forever under their power. There's just no way of getting out of it, except for to ditch the whole lot and start again, and that just isn't going to happen, and they know that. So even the most radical person in the whole world who attempts to sort of change everything, if they're literate, has to use that system, and therefore their message can be subverted. Just name me one person who sort of shouts the odds, who all of the people read their numbers and will say, you know, what they're doing is exactly what their numbers will be saying they're doing. So there's no getting away from it. And unfortunately, as writers, we both, they're the tools of our trade anyway. So to get any kind of deep insights across, you've got to use this flipping, what should we say, this blemished means of communicating it. It's sort of similar to psychic messages, if you've got a medium, if you've got a good medium, they will get pristine messages, but what comes out the other end has been sullied by whatever they're programming or processing are. So it never comes out the same as it went in, if you see what I mean. So
Sure, absolutely.
It's exactly the same thing with writing. You can write the most profound words down, the feeling behind those words, but then there's a few kind of what should we say, a few hoops to go through before it actually comes through to the consciousness of whoever's listening or reading them. So that's where the problem lies with people like that, who the people who want to control and run and organise everybody. I mean, that in numerology is an number 8 energy frequency. Doesn't mean all control and rule up, but the thing is that if they've had the upbringing and the environment and depending on the other numbers they've got, it can mean that they want to control everything around them. So that's the crux of it for me. That we've got this satanic system of manifesting our thoughts
through language.
Yeah.
So when somebody sees a letter B, they see a line, and they see 2 closed loops. Mm-hmm. When you see the letter B, what do you see?
Well, that's another thing with symbols. There's not ever just one way of looking at them. There's quite a few different ways of looking. For one thing, got to look at where it is placed in its sequence, because when we first start school, one of the very first things we learn is the alphabet, and we learn it by rote, and that goes straight into our unconscious, and we can just like repeat it again, just how it comes again. And it's been drilled into us. So when the capital letter B comes up, we see the letters, we see the number where it is in the alphabet, the position in the alphabet, which is number 2 in the capital letter alphabet, but it's number 28 in the capital alphabet and number 2 in the minor alphabet. And that's drawn differently. So there's a different meaning to the smaller letter than there is to the capital letter. But to look at capital B, you're looking at a letter that needs to be in a partnership or relationship with someone or something else. But on the other hand as well, it's number 13 joined. Mm-hmm. So there's different ways of looking at these two different things, and 13's the number. It's a number of change and transformation. But joined together, you're actually staying the same, if you see what I mean. You're transforming, but you're kept together, so you can never do something for your own back and your company do it.
That's fascinating. How did you get to 28 in the uppercase?
Because the capital letter alphabet comes on top of the smaller letter alphabet.
Ah, I see. Interesting.
Yeah. That's something that's been kept from us as well. The symbolism becomes very different from, we haven't looked at that. But I call what I do numerosymbology, really, because I look at a lot more aspects than just numbers. And 28 is a more controlling, more need to be in control of their circumstances than little b, then, number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Capital B is kind of overbearing with the 2, then, with the little 2. It needs to control 2, because 8 is a number of control.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that difference. There's that difference, yeah.
Mm-hmm. What about Obama with the big O and then the little b, and obviously somebody who's achieved singularity or single name status like Cher or Madonna or Pele? Have you gotten into the numerology and the symbology of Obama?
I think I did do Obama quite a long time ago, but I haven't. I don't recall what was but I call him the Obama, but he's not real, is he?
Not that I can, it blows my mind. I mean, it's how they put him together in terms of his past and whatever that past really is. They gave him a past, and even when he ran for the 2 elections prior to becoming, this is not somebody who spent a lot of time in the halls of politics. I mean, he basically went from being like an alderman or city council person in Chicago, and the way that he got that position was he lost. He lost to the woman he ran against, and then they did a voter recall, and then of course he got in as a result of that. And then his second election, he was going to run against the incumbent, and this was for the state to be the state senator of Illinois, and the incumbent was Jack Ryan, who was a Republican, and his wife was a woman, but you'll get a kick out of this. His wife was Jerry Ryan, who played a character named 7 of 9. Right, here we go, the numerological aspect. I mean, 7 and 9, I believe she was part Borg on Star Trek. Okay. And they were married, and then they got a divorce. And as the election was beginning to heat up a little bit, like you knew it was going to be Obama versus Ryan, all of a sudden, Ryan's details around his divorce were published in, I think it was Chicago Sun-Times.
Okay.
And the details were, very graphic descriptions of eyes wide shut parties.
Right. Okay.
And when that happened, Jack Ryan had to step down, and he had to bow out of the race, which basically made an open runway for Obama to win that election.
Right.
And then from there, obviously, he became very quickly the president of the United States. So there's this whole notion of him being a synthetic character, which is, if you drill down into the story, it becomes quite real.
Yeah. Well, when I look at Obama, I see a thing with no soul. He's almost like a holograph, isn't he?
It appears that way sometimes.
Yeah. I've met a few people in inverted commas with no soul, and I don't see him. I just don't see him as being human. I don't see him. I see a shell. Like I suppose you could say a droid or something, but it's like a tape recorder inside a mannequin or something. It's a microphone inside a mannequin, but he doesn't strike me as real. I don't really know what to say other than when he won the election, before that election, I was certain that it was going to have to be somebody very different, and I'm still certain that it was intended to be Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
What happened, I don't know, changed tack and went for somebody else different. I mean, the first black president. And Myers, he let, the black people of America down big time. They put their faith in him, and I despair at that. But they had to have someone different to what had gone on before, and I still feel that, in the hierarchy behind the curtain, Hillary Clinton is probably still pulling strings and pulling him. But what else can I say, really? I don't think he's good for America. I don't think he's good for the world. But then whoever they put in the position that he's in wouldn't be anyway. At the moment, he's fulfilling the role that they expect of him, and being a machine or whatever, he just does as he's told. So that's where it is at the moment, and you're not going to get Mr. Goody Two Shoes up there as president, are you? It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I agree. So one of the things that you and I talked about was maybe you doing a couple of numerology readings.
Yeah.
Are you up for that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So we've got a few people waiting to already, and let's bring one on here and find out who they are. I think this is Erica, who's a pretty important part of my show. She actually, I won't tell you too much. She helps me out with uploading a number of other people. Let's see if this is her. Hello?
Hi.
Hey, what's going on?
Oh, not much. It's nice to meet you, Ellis. Good to talk to you, Robert. I have a pretty wicked echo on this end, so I can't hear very well.
I'm hearing the echo, too. It's weird.
Yeah, I'm on a phone, and I'm not near a computer, so I don't think it could be me.
It's echoing here as well.
I only have an echo with Robert, though. Ellis, I don't have an echo.
All right, I'll shut up and let Ellis know.
Hi, Erica.
Hi, it's nice to meet you.
You too. How do I spell your name?
Erika.
Erika. Okay. And your birthday?
Is 3/20/77, or I should say March 20th, 1977.
1977. Okay. Do you want to just chat with Robert for a minute while I do some sums?
Sure. Do you need to know the time I was born?
No.
It was 6:22 a.m.
That's okay, thanks.
Okay.
I'm the only one that needs the time. He doesn't need that much.
Okay.
I need more details. Yeah. So, what's the weather like in Pennsylvania today, Erica?
Warm and balmy, humid.
Nice.
Yeah, it's okay. It's not too hot, so it's manageable.
Good. Am I still echoing terribly?
No, you're not so bad now. It comes and goes. It's been coming and going in waves since the show started. I'm not really sure where it's coming from.
I think it's just Ellis and this multi-dimensional frequency that he takes with him everywhere he goes.
Yeah, the multi-dimensional echo.
Yeah, we're in his world now. You better learn how to be there. Okay, Merlin, have you worked your magic?
Yeah, we're ready to go. Hey, Erica, it's a brief one. Basically, do you know anything about numerology?
A little, very little.
Yeah, I'll just explain quickly roughly what it is. It's based on on like attracting like. So our names and the numbers of our birth date, the numbers of the according to the letters in our names, etc. They all give out a frequency, and we attract that frequency back, and that's what we call kind of lessons, or whatever you want to call it. They give us experiences according to those numbers. So the numbers that the names that we use most, obviously, we attract more of that energy to us. But all of our names are giving us experiences all of the time and to different areas of our life. But obviously, when I get a reading, it takes something like an hour and a half at least. So I won't be able to go into the huge detail because I've only got your first name and your birth date. But it'll be sort of something to think about. So when I look at your name, you're drawing experiences towards you of change and learning about dramas. You're here to communicate. You're learning about communication. But you also need your own space. You need time on your own, and there's a need for you as well to go within as much as possible. You've got numbers in your first to actually journey yourself. So anything psychic or anything spiritual or even scientific, in the true sense of the word, is something that's interesting to you. It's a name that with frequencies that need change, frequent movement, so travel, all that sort of thing is something that needs to be experienced. Your birth date also has the same number as your first name in it, so that kind of it'll go either either of two ways. One, it can negate it because there's always a light and a dark side, or a positive and negative to each. But either it can negate the things that I've just said, or it can actually compound them and amplify it. So usually it means it amplifies it. Now you're here to be of help to people, help people in things like you'd be a good teacher, you'd be a good carer, you'd be somebody who looks after other people. And you make manifest thoughts that will inspire others, then, put it that way.
Okay.
You're here to have your own space, but you're also here to learn about being with somebody, someone close. And that can be a friend, partner, or whatever. But you need relationships with other people, but they need to be on the same wavelength as you. You're quite a deep and sensitive person, so that needs to be respected. Whoever it is that you deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions?
No, that's pretty right on the money. Just finding people like that is very difficult. So.
Yeah,
a challenge.
Yeah, I agree. It is. It's the numbers you have are sensitive to crowds, so it can be difficult actually. Meeting somebody because the sort of person you will attract will have the same numbers as you. They always have. Excuse me. You're not going to find them in nightclubs and anywhere where lots of people meet. It's going to be in places where people who've got representatives will gather. So it's really the best places to go are places where you're going to be learning something that's deep and meaningful, at college or whatever, or it's some kind of conference or something on spiritual scientific matters or whatever, those sorts of things, but definitely not in crowded environments. Your first name says that you're too sensitive and you'll pick up all the frequencies and energies from other people too easily, which will make your energy field shudder and you'll feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true.
Okay.
So that was very helpful. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thanks for doing that, Ellis. And thank you, Erica, and I will talk to you soon, okay?
Oh, okay. Have a great day.
Okay, bye.
All right, bye.
Okay. Do you want to try one more, Ellis?
Yeah.
Okay, you're just getting warmed up here. This is I believe this is Dave. I think it's Dave. Here we go. Hello there.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hello, mate. How you going?
Well, I'm ready for a reading, Ellis. Give me some good news here.
What name do you use most?
I use the name Dave.
Dave, okay. And your birthday?
12/3/53.
Is that the 12th of March or the 3rd of December?
Yes.
The 3rd of December, right?
Right.
Yeah. Thanks. Right, I'll just this up, Robert, if that's okay, and you have a quick chat.
Sure. Yeah. So, okay, Dave. This is the moment where they play the music on Jeopardy while Ellis does his magic. Maybe I should just do the Jeopardy tune. Dun, 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 dun. So, did you watch the DNC last night, Dave?
No.
No, me neither.
No.
I saw a few bits of the speeches and bringing Gabrielle Giffords out, whoever that is, at the end to do the Pledge of Allegiance was really, it was high theater, man.
I've stayed away from all of it. I haven't seen any of the Olympics. I just find no interest in this charade that we call politics.
Yeah. I only find interest in it from the ability to, or the need to break it down, and not to take it in as a participant in the spectacle. So, hopefully I can keep my distance from catching whatever plague that might be. So, Ellis, are you ready to rock and roll here?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm ready to go.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's bring you on here and break it down for Dave.
Okay. Hi, Dave.
Hey.
Did you hear what I said to Erica about what numerology is? I hope so.
Yes. Yes, I did.
So basically, your name draws experiences to you to learn from. Your birth date holds your fate and timings and talents, things like that. So the draw towards you, Dave. You call yourself Dave. It's probably is it David? Is that your birth name, David?
Yeah, that's the proper name. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a very different experience, but the energy of David will still be in your field, and you'll be still attracting that. But as you go by Dave, then you'll get a lot of the energy the frequency pattern that comes from that, and that's a 4. Now, there's a thing about 4 that I like to tell people about because it's very important. You know the 2 figures for 4. There's one that's kind of closed, and you see it mostly on your computer and that kind of stuff. That figure, and then there's the 4 that's open. Do you know the 2 different 4s that I mean? 2 figures.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. Well, they both actually communicate different messages, and very different messages. The closed four, if you look at it, what I see is someone standing on one leg, holding a heavy sack. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Now, what that means is that you're actually spending lots and lots of effort trying to stay upright. Okay, lots and lots of energy going into remaining where you are. So this four's pumped at us much more than the other four designs. So we're consequently, people with four energy feel that they kind of boxed in, they can't get out, they can't move, they're a bit worried about taking a risk. They feel and lot of pressure. They don't move or take a chance or risk, because if they do, they'll fall over because they've only got the one leg and this great heavy sack they're carrying. So they take on all the burdens of the world, this figure four. And they feel very under the control of circumstances then. Whereas the other four, the open four, the template for the numbers and the letters, I won't explain it on here because it's very difficult to picture it, but the template says that the first perpendicular line symbolically is a message from heavens and from God down to the physical plane, which in writing is the line that we write along. So that the first line that comes down in the figure four, the open four, is directly down from the message goes along the line horizontally, so that four is very grounded. It's not going to fall over. It's very solid on the ground. And then the line that splits that line comes from the emotional, unconscious, emotional, and into the soul plane. So what occurs then is the perpendicular line. If you picture it like a water wheel, the perpendicular line is water, and the cross of the four is actually the spokes of a water wheel. So the water's coming down and moving the wheel around. Okay. Now every part of this cross actually moves around, and it goes into the unconscious, into the emotional, it goes into the physical, into the soul, and round again, constantly revolving. And so therefore, what you're in everything to all of those things with that figure four. It's a very potent figure, and it actually drives every other number in your frequency pattern. So if you don't do it now, please draw the four like that, and maybe even put a sticker note with that figure four on your computer so that you see it as much as possible to negate the effect of the other one. It's something that a lot of kids are taught in school, but then eventually they're kind of encouraged to use the other one. So that's that figure four, and the other figure four. So you're going to have like depending on which figure four you use, that will be the influence on your life. So you'll be experiencing a variety of those if you use the open four. If you use the other four, the closed four, you'll be having all these problems and limitations, and this need to be in control of your environment and all that kind of stuff. Now, the other thing about Dave as well is that there's a need to learn to let go, forgive and forget, and when people come into your life and then go out of it, it's about learning to let them go, and not only people but circumstances. There's a lot of hellos and goodbyes in the name Dave, and sometimes you'll feel quite alone emotionally, but the lesson in that in the name Dave is that there is always help, spiritual help, emotional help for you if you ask for it. the prayer numbers in there anyway. So, you know, it's worth spending some time, meditation, contemplation, daydreaming, all of those sorts of things, because the name Dave also has a very striking ability to construct something that is worthwhile, long-lasting, and will be still around well after you're gone. So the more you put into what should we say? The more that you allow guidance coming from, can be yourselves, it can be whatever you want it to be, but it's your God, whatever that is, then the more you will succeed in whatever it is that you want to do. But be prepared to have to spend some time on your own, and in those moments on your own, that's the time to make profitable use of that ability. Now, in your birth date, it shows that you have got a good imagination. You're here to communicate, to share, to counsel others through the experiences that you have. Will give you a lot of wisdom. You will find that you will often find yourself in situations where you're separated from friends, family, particularly children, the elderly, and animals in some way, shape or form. But you're here to care for others, to be of service to others, and to communicate what inspirations you have. Have you got any questions?
No, yeah, this is uncanny because you're totally right on. And what really struck me is I kind of quit doing things because I knew once I started something, it's harder than you know what for me to get out of situations.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So with this number 4, what are you saying that I just need to kind of focus and concentrate on the open 4, or how do I really leave this closed 4 behind?
It's, as I was saying a little bit earlier, it's something that we can't leave totally behind. It will always be influencing us because everywhere we look, we see this closed 4, and our unconscious mind takes it in. But if we purposefully use the open 4, it will negate a lot of the influences and effects of the closed 4. So when you draw it, make sure that you draw it square on the line, not up in the air or sideways or slanted or anything like that. It all has to be square.
Okay.
And it really is a very powerful symbol.
Yeah, it looks like a 1/4 of a Nazi insignia.
What, the 4? Well, that's only because the swastika is a sun cross anyway. It's just another way of doing it. But then that, before the Nazis took it over, it was a symbol of much better things.
So wouldn't it be advantageous for me to change my first name?
Would it be?
Yeah, would it be?
Well, it depends what you change it to, but
I'm not liking this gig so much.
It's
Well, why don't you work on your 4s first, Dave? Go practice your 4s, okay?
I'm going to do that. And Ellis, I thank you so much. You're beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for calling in, Dave. I'll put you back on mute if you want to stay on. If not, you can bounce off. All right?
Okay, please do.
All right.
Have a great day.
Thanks. Funny. Hey, Ellis, do you have time for one more? Make it the magic 3.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so this is the last reading. I don't know who this, or maybe I do, and I just don't know who they are. I just see their number. Let's see who they are and where they're calling from. Hi, thanks for calling in and joining myself and Ellis. Who are you and where are you calling from?
Is this me?
It's you.
Oh, this is Eric, Robert.
Hey, Eric. What's going on, Eric? So it's this is a familiar cast today, Ellis. So this is Eric. Eric, meet Ellis.
Greetings.
Hi, Eric.
Well, you're a fascinating person.
You sound like you're talking to me from underwater at the moment.
I'm sorry. It's
okay.
Probably my bad connection to my phone. Sorry, but I was wondering. I've gotten a lot of Robert's take astrologically on me, but I'm curious which you might get whatever that adjective is.
Yeah.
From a numerological standpoint, my birthday is September 15th, 1975.
Same birthday as Prince Harry. You're not Prince Harry, are you?
Excuse me?
You said it's the same birthday as Prince Harry.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's Eric, is that E-R-I-C?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, Eric.
Can you give me a minute?
Yes, I'm going to run a little interference here for Mr. Taylor. By the way, if you are interested in getting a reading, a full-on numerology reading, which I highly recommend. Ellis did that for me one time, and it blew my mind. He's unlike any other numerologist I've ever come across, not only because of his relationship with the science of the numbers, but also because Ellis is somebody who blends with other dimensions, and he brings that extra dimensional presence into the readings as well. So a numerology reading with him is unlike just about any other numerologist that I've ever come across. And you can go to his website, which is ellistaylor.com, and that's actually, the link is on my show page. And you can find out and probably arrange your own reading, read that list there. And you can also read more about his work and his books on his website as well. So, are you just about ready, Ellis?
Yep, one sec.
Okay.
Eric, you're somebody else who's here to go within then, because you've got an ability to know what's coming. The more that you go within, the more meditation, contemplation, daydreaming, and stuff like that you do, the more insight you will have, and be able to bring them into your life in this domain. Then you've got a base number 7, which is now 7s come from the past, go to the future, and deliver to the present. Okay, if you look at the symbol, you can see that's what that does. And by the way, never draw a bar across it. You do it to because that just blocks your inspiration, imagination, intuition, etc. Leave it open. And you'll notice that 7, the figure 7 is just a line. It holds nothing. So 7 frequency isn't here to accumulate. It's here to deliver. So I don't know what the rest of your names are, but every name has to work with each other. But the other names will have an influence upon that. But we're looking at just the name Eric, and therefore it's a word. It's a frequency that isn't materialistic. It's here, there, and everywhere, and gone. It's like boom, gone, boom, gone. It doesn't accumulate anything whatsoever, and it's very often a very pointed path to people without expecting you not expecting it, or the company you're with not expecting it. It's just a point that's made, and then it's off. And sevens are here as well, not to bear any kind of grudges or remember much as well, because that's accumulation as well. So sevens are actually on a path of discovery, but they deliver what they find out rather than accumulating it and using it for later. Now, you'll find yourself needing your own space. You'll probably be wanting to be near water, and water, the energy of water is very good for sevens. You're a teacher, but the teaching you do comes through you rather than from you. You will probably touch down in different places, so journeying, travelling, all of those sorts of things are quite important to you. Now, you're also here to help other people and to be of service to other people, to share what you learn, but you can be a bit feisty sometimes.
I guess I can say I don't put up with people trying to yank my chain, let's say.
Say that again, sorry.
But I don't put up too well with people trying to yank my chain.
No. Well, you wouldn't. And one of the energies that you've got here is there's a need for you to be in charge of whatever you're doing. You're not somebody who's to take orders. You prefer to give them and to be somebody who's your own person. You're not a follower.
That's definitely true.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Definitely a life that's learned through your own experiences, trying different things, and you will try a lot of different things, but you won't always stick at them. Okay, you're very sensitive. People may not notice that, but you are very sensitive. You keep your feelings hidden quite a lot, and you. What should we say? You're a investigator. Okay? You've got this inclination towards finding things out, but finding things out through your own endeavours. Then.
That's spot on.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. Good stuff.
Thanks a lot.
You're very welcome, Eric.
Thanks for calling in, Eric. We'll see you again sometime, okay?
I appreciate it.
Take care. All right. Well, thanks for doing that, Ellis. I was inspired.
No worries, mate.
Yeah. And while you were working on Eric's numbers, I made a little pitch for your website. Is there anything else you want to say about your website or your books or any other way that people can contact you? What happened? Am I not on the air again? He dropped. Ellis dropped off. Boy, I got to tell you, man. One of these days, I will have my own system. My own system where calls won't drop. Wouldn't that be nice? Okay, I'm hoping that Ellis calls back in and we can wrap up the show and do it in a formal fashion, so to speak. If you want to get a reading from Ellis, and you really want to get into your numerology, and he takes a great deal of time and effort, and he'll go through your first name, your middle name, your last name, and he'll really break down the symbolism of the letters as well, which is pretty cool. Not only will you get a numerology reading, but you'll also receive a bit of an education as far as numerology goes. You'll find out to some extent, how Ellis does what he does. And that in and of itself is worth the price of admission. So like I said, nobody else does it the way really Ellis Taylor does. Well, it looks like he's not going to call back in. I'll give him another minute or two and see if he does that. Somebody just called in on it's a 661 area code, and I'm betting that you want a reading with Ellis. Let's just talk to them and see who they're about and what they think of what they heard today. Hello there. Ah! Oh, nice. I like that. Beautiful. That was great. Ellis is pinking me. I'm getting the pink here on Skype. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to essentially wrap the show up because I have a lot to say, but I really wanted this to be about Ellis today and his work and his take on numerology, and allow you, the listening on. Here he is. He's back on. Beautiful. I don't have to wrap this up so abruptly. Hey there.
Hi, Robert. I don't know what happened there, but
just
went.
Yes, these things happen. They seem to happen when you're on the air with me. It's okay. So I was just, the last thing I asked you was, is there a way for people to get in touch with you? Is it through the website, or are there any other means?
Yeah, I do Skype reading, and if you mean for a reading, or if people want to chat to me or whatever, I've got my on my website lsctaylor.com. Just contact me through there. And yeah, for readings as well, and we can set one up. But if there's anything they want to ask, any short questions, if I can find the time, I'll answer any email that comes to me.
Okay, so it's ellisctaylor.com, not ellistaylor.com. Did somebody already have ellistaylor.com when you went to register?
Yeah. A lawyer, probably fed up with getting emails from me.
Imagine that. There's another Ellis Taylor in the world. Probably your negative double or something. He's practicing law,
huh? Yeah. Do you know what? When I was a kid, some friends showed me a photograph taken sometime in the 40s of this person who looked absolutely spot on, absolutely like me.
Yeah.
They thought it was me. I thought it was me. It was incredible. But there you go. Perhaps we all have got a double.
Maybe doubles, triples, quadruples. Who knows, huh?
Who knows? Exactly.
So do you have anything coming up on the horizon? You can be speaking anywhere or doing anything of significance that you want to share with people?
I'd love to be able to be doing some more talks, but nobody asks me anymore, Robert. I don't know why, but they don't.
That's another shame.
It's something that I do enjoy doing. I've been trying to work out how to do a numerology talk, actually, but blasting people with a load of numbers can be a bit mind-boggling. It's like it's school in something, But,
well, I'll tell you what we should do. What we should do is we should set up a webinar with you, and I could probably handle the technical side of things, and we should just do an Ellis Taylor webinar where you actually can teach some of these things to people. I think that would be a really cool thing.
Okay, maybe we'll talk about that. Yeah.
We'll explore that offline. So
yeah.
And I'm sure. Why don't, if you are listening to the show and you're in the chat room and you would have some interest in doing a webinar with Ellis and finding out more about the specific style of numerology that he engages in, go ahead and leave a response in the chat room or send me an email. Let's see if we can see what kind of interest we'll have, and then maybe we can actually arrange something. It would be kind of a cool thing to do, and I'd be happy to be a part of that with you because I believe in what you do.
Thank you, Robert. That'd be great. Same back to you, mate. I love what you do too, and your writing gets better and better, I have to say. You know, I just really enjoy the articles that you come out with, and yeah, you've got a big talent, mate, and yeah, keep going.
Well, it's the devil's script, so I do my best to redeem it as often as I can. You know what I mean?
We just pump as much good stuff in as we can, don't we? And hopefully people are sensitive enough to pick up the meaning behind the words, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Ellis. Well, listen, I'm going to let you get on with your beautiful evening there in the English countryside. And again, I want to thank you for coming on, and we'll circle back and maybe we'll explore this webinar piece and spread the knowledge a little bit, okay?
Nice one, mate. And thank you very much for having me on. And thank you, everybody who's taken the time out to listen to me yak on.
Okay. All right. Take good care, Ellis.
All the best, mate. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Ellis Taylor. Round of applause. Okay. LSCtaylor.com, again, is his website. Before I sign off here, I just want to give just a brief mention to, you know, we're all members of a tribe, you know, and this is, you know, we're members of the Earth tribe. We're members of a galactic tribe. You know, we're members of soul tribes. And it seems to me that the people that are part of my show and part of the website, we all form an invisible tribe. And I've gotten to know a number of you over the weeks and months and years that we've somehow come together here and shared our thoughts and our aspirations, our feelings, and so when one of the members of the tribe goes through something, I think it's kind of important for me to at least you know, share the kind of the energy around that. So Julie, who has listened to the show, reads the blog, and has supported the newsletter, has gotten into a very intense place with her father, and just one of these dramatic experiences where just out of the blue she had to get on a plane and leave Hawaii and come to the mainland and be with her father almost during his final moments. And I just want to hold Julie in you know, a space to be able to do that. And I don't know if she got there in time, but definitely thoughts and prayers go out to her for such a dramatic shift in her reality. So, you know, all the best to you, Julie. And we all go through these things, and we're all going to be going through more of these things. And that's just the way it is. And we are here, hopefully, to the best of our abilities for one another. And it's challenging. I know it's challenging because every now and then, you know, we get our chains yanked. And, you know, we have to wonder whether or not, you know, certain people in our lives for a reason, season, or a lifetime, we got to figure that out. But, you know, I think you know who's in your tribe. And when you do, you can do your best to, you know, show them some love and take care of them. So, you know, all the best to you, Julie, and your family. Also lost somebody this last week in a very shocking way. Fellow by the name of Jeffrey Gordon. Jeffrey was a longtime percussionist for Jai Uttal, the Pagan Love Orchestra, and before that, Peter Applebaum, Hieroglyphics Ensemble. And he played in a number of groups with my very dear friend, Stephen Kent. I actually toured with Jeffrey briefly back in the Southwest. Back in 1996, did a tour of Tucson and Santa Fe and Bisbee and all kinds of places in the Southwest. I got to know Jeffrey fairly well, and was shocked to hear that he had died of a heart attack on Tuesday night. Really mind-blowing. And Jeffrey he's 8 years older than me, so he just turned 60. I think he just turned 60. And he was very into Hinduism and chanting and the Bhagavad Gita and bhajans. And Jeffrey had become a yogi. He'd become a yogi, doing kirtan all over the world. And he brought so much joy to people's lives and hearts. And we should all burn as brightly as Jeffrey, let me tell you. Not only was he a devoted yogi, he was a grandfather, he was a stellar musician. He'd also performed on Broadway. He was in Madame Butterfly with John Lithgow for a number of years. Jeffrey lived a large life, and sometimes when people pass away, we mourn their passing because we didn't get to know them, or we maybe got a sense that they got cheated. Jeffrey Gordon did not cheat life, let me tell you. Jeffrey got every single ounce out of life, and he passed away at the wheel of his car. He had a heart attack, and Paramahansa Yogananda said that the most spiritual way that a person can leave their body is via a heart attack. And perhaps Jeffrey earned that right to leave as quickly as possible without the degradation of decay and gravity, which consumes most of us in our final days and moments of passing very hard. And Jeffrey had the grace of immediate transition from this world to the next. So God bless you, Jeffrey. I know you're drumming in heaven, and it's great to know you in this form, in this corporeal form. You definitely made my life richer. Okay, it is 11:36. Somebody called in here on the Skype line. Let's see who they are. I'll just say hi. If you're a Yahoo, I'll cut you off, but if not, I'll talk to you. Hello there.
Hello?
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, I was wondering, I was talking to Michael Shannon earlier, and he recommended me to talk to you in regards to paranormal spirits that I'm dealing with my new apartment. Do you deal with that, or was he wrong?
You know, it's really not my realm. You know, I do know people that can help you. I'll give you a name straight out of the gate. Her name is Katie Galante, and you should look her up. If you're dealing with spirits, there's maybe a chance you're also dealing with entities and something that's interdimensional. You can find her through cosmicessence.com. That's her website. So I would recommend her. I mean, I could tell you a few things, but you know, she would definitely be the one to reach out to. Okay.
Okay. Well, I'll give you kind of a basic understanding. So I just moved into this new place, and maybe about 2 months ago. Yeah. And I'm going to college, and I found out later that there had been this girl who had killed herself because she was also going to college, and she had been told incorrectly that she had failed the test.
Right.
So she committed suicide, and ever since I've moved in there, I felt this presence. But at first I thought maybe it was like I was talking to Michael Shannon about it, and we thought it might be, you know, some form of evil spirit, because it was doing weird, just very odd. I felt like I was being touched and stuff.
Right.
And then ever since then, I've slowly, I'll wake up in the morning and my hair, which is light brown, and I'll go to bed with it, you know, very short. It's touching my ears. And I'll wake up and my hair is blonde and is down to my shoulders, and I have to cut it every single day.
All right. Well, you know what? If you can capture that on videotape and put it on YouTube, that would be an amazing thing. Hey, thank you for calling in, and reach out to Katie, okay? Yeah, of course. Yeah, Yahoo. All right. Okay, so that's it. I knew I should have answered that call. You know, talk about sixth sense. Yeah. He couldn't really pull it off that well, could he? I was sitting there listening and wondering where this was going to go. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. So that's it. I hate to end the show on an anvil thud like that. I should have just left it alone. All right. Next Friday, I'm going to have a pretty interesting show. I'm going to have Rasa Von Warder. She'll be on. And she also goes by the name of Kelly Everts. And her claim to fame is that she was a stripper for God. And we're going to talk to her. We're going to talk to her about the goddess and being able to be in the body and not of it at the same time, and honoring the divine feminine. Should be a very interesting discussion. She is very into Catholicism, and she's also very into the body at the same time. She's a follower of Padre Pio, the great Catholic saint, 20th century saint who was capable of a number of different things, transubstantiation, biolocation, you name it. He was the real deal. So we'll talk about the life of Padre Pio as well, I'm sure. So until then, use your head to discern what's real, your heart to open to what's possible, and as evidenced by that last call, always follow your instincts. This is Robert Phoenix. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Ellis. I'll see you on Monday with the mashup.
We are living in a computer-programmed reality, and the only clue we have to it is when some variable is changed and some alteration in our reality occurs. We would have the overwhelming impression that we are reliving the present, déjà vu, perhaps in precisely the same way, hearing the same words, saying the same words. I submit that these impressions are valid and significant, and I will even say this: such an impression is a clue that at some past time point a variable was changed, reprogrammed as it were, and that because of this an alternative world branched off.